or maybe that are thinking about starting a company. It's very important for you to listen to this segment. And the myth we're here to debunk is that your business will be profitable in the first 6 to 12 months. Okay, so when we talk about profit, it's one of those words that there's often some confusion with that word, but I think from the mentality that we're talking about here, it's in terms of the owner being able to take some money out of the business. And so it may often be where we've talked a lot about on this show and talk about it all the time, off the air as well, is the idea or the mentality of a job versus an owner mentality. So that job mentality, which is more the paycheck type mentality of being used to a consistent weekly, bi-weekly, monthly paycheck, versus the owners who, again, the owners like to make money as well, but they aren't as necessarily as focused on that week-to-week or bi-weekly or monthly paycheck. So if you're thinking about starting out, or if you've been starting out and having trouble, taking money out, don't worry. That's perfectly normal, especially early on to have some of those struggles. And early on, especially the first year or so, where you're trying to get things off the ground.
Oh, the problem is so many people start a business without the adequate knowledge of what it takes to be successful in that business, and especially generating profits and, or more importantly, cash flow. So they don't know how to analyze it. Usually because of what they don't know is going to hurt them, they jump into it, and they have an expectation that as long as they do certain things, whatever those certain things are, they basically are going to be okay. The money will be there. Well, it takes a skill to basically lay out that spreadsheet showing how the first year, how the first several months are going to unfold. And you want to do that before you're starting to write checks into the netherland here that basically is going to drain you. To get profits in the first 6 to 12 months of a company takes a lot of planning and then execution of that plan. And in order to do that well, it takes knowledge, and you have to have some experience in doing that, either yourself or a very, very good partner, which we'll talk about a little bit later, perhaps. But that's required, and that often is what's lacking.
Yeah, so I think being focused on the cash flow part of it, where's that going to come from? I recall when we first started MVP up, almost 15 years ago now, and one of the things we had is we had some money set aside to make sure that we could live and pay bills. And I recall having this discussion with my wife about it. I asked her about what's Plan B if Plan A doesn't work out. She didn't like my response, which was, well, there is no Plan B because I'm going to put all my efforts and energy into Plan A to make sure Plan A does succeed. But
how young and naive you were, but it worked out pretty good 15 years later.
Yeah, but I made sure we had enough money to pay the bills, and I wasn't worried about the paycheck early on. Knowing that there's certain things you have to do to help grow and sustain the business, and making sure that you can do that without having to worry about taking money out month to month or week to week is a big, big deal. So if you're starting out or if you're early on, you got to make sure that there's money available to pay the bills, both from the business standpoint as well as personal standpoint.
Very important. You can't minimize that. You can't go in on a shoestring or hope you're going to start to get that paycheck in 6-7 months. You can hope, but it ain't going to happen unless it's well laid out on paper and you have a market advantage and products or services that make it a slam dunk. Haven't seen too many of those, though.
No, I think that explains, Jack, why most people, when they start out, often they'll start out on the side. They're working a day job, so to speak, and then in their off hours and the weekends, instead of getting some sleep or spending time with family, they're getting things launched because they have the money to pay the bills from their day job, and they're trying to get things kind of moving in the right direction. That's a great way to get things kind of started, to test, to see, is there a market there for your product or service, and see if you can start to generate revenue and eventually profits from that.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. It's the right way to do it. Unless, of course, you hire a business coach, a good business coach like Maximum Value Partners. But if you don't, that type of planning is necessary. That type of holding in reserves is necessary, and you should do it.
So if you're going through that process right now, again, if you're early on, don't be frustrated or worried if you haven't started to make some profits yet. It's perfectly normal, and keep focused on getting those profits in there. All right, so stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to be revealing our dirty secret of the week.